I call to order this regular select board meeting for the town of Underhill. It is Thursday, November 9th, 2023. It is 6 p.m. Any adjustments to the agenda, the warned agenda?
I have none.
I'd like to add a holiday bonus for the staff to the agenda.
Okay. We could do that around the before the town administrator updates.
Whenever you want.
Okay. Any public comment? I don't see anybody here in the room. I don't see anybody on the tube. So we will move on to an executive session in which we will interview a candidate for a position. And I move that we enter executive session based on 1 VSA section 313 paragraph A3 for the appointment or employment or evaluation of a public officer or employee. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 We are now in executive session. Please stop the recording.
This conference will now be recorded.
I move that we exit executive session and return to open session. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Is there discussion?
I'll wait for Bob to pop in. He's popping in right now.
Popping in right now. Any discussion on the motion, Bob, to enter open session? All in favor? Aye.
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 This motion carries 3-0. And the outcome of the interview is that the select board would want in the coming week the two things to happen: that references begin to be checked and followed through on, and also that contact with the staff as a whole would be made, not necessarily for an interview, but some sort of a so that the staff as a whole can get a sense of the candidate, and also the candidate can get a sense of what it's like here. So those two things that we would like to have happen before the select board goes at it again for a second, maybe final interview.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right, so Brian is here. First item on the agenda is Westman Road signage request. Brian wrote up a memo and included in your packet. Take it away.
Okay, I'm not really sure. I don't really want to reread you the memo, obviously. I will say that my wife told me that I didn't include the most important part in the memo after I sent it and she read it, which is, so I've seen 3, I guess just more as evidence for what I'm saying, like just I personally saw 3 single car accidents within like 100 yards of the end of my driveway last winter, meaning people go off the road. I think you call that a single car accident. Like in Tisbert's field, coming down off Andrews into Westman, or like sliding off Westman because they drive too fast. I guess I'm certainly not an expert on what it takes to get road signs, and my source of authority is my neighbor, the state trooper. So you can put an asterisk next to that because I don't know if he knows what he's talking about either. But sorry, Chris. But I guess my thinking was just like, as GPS has come in, it seems like maybe that's what's responsible for it, because it shows as being like, I don't know, 2 minutes faster or something. I don't know the actual amount.
Well, so there's a lot of cut through.
Yeah, it shows as being some
not
short amount of time faster, right? and it's not like I'm trying to pick on out-of-state people. It's just like if you don't have winter tires and you sort of aren't used to driving on dirt roads, my hypothesis is that will lead to part of it. But I'm just wondering, you know, the road's not really built to whip through there at 45 miles an hour, particularly when it's snowy. I'm not a road expert, but it doesn't seem like it's designed for that, like a Pleasant Valley. So I just didn't know, is there some sort of sign we could put to informally encourage people? Well, one, a speed limit sign at the bottom of the hill, but two would be, you know how it used to be up by the town line until someone hit it, more like farther down, so you see it when you get on Westman maybe. But more importantly, is there some sign we could put to like encourage people maybe not to cut through? I was trying to come up with fancy words, and then my neighbor Chris was like, I think you can just put like no through traffic. I'm like, well, I don't know about that, but I mean, my request is for you all to think about it, I guess, more than anything. Like, is there some nice way to encourage people? Like, maybe you want to stay on the main road
Preferred
to go to
route to
Smugs.
Smugs.
Something like that.
Preferred route to Smugs.
Something like that.
Want them down the valley. You know?
I mean, there are a number of people who go off the road. I mean, I personally called Smugglers Notch Towing for 2 people last year, which is fine, whatever. I don't mind doing it. But it's just sort of shows, I think, people drive too fast on the road, particularly in the winter.
But as GPS gets smarter as people,
Just keeps reinforcing it.
right? So they've typed into their GPS like how to get to Smugs, right? So they're tracking that, and the more people drive that way, then it becomes like the preferred route almost.
And then in sketchy days, which is often the case when you go to a ski area,
Yeah.
the more traffic makes it sketchier.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's very similar to people going thinking they're going to get through the range.
I mean, I think
I'll turn her down. This is seeing where it's going.
But I'm sure Cambridge would concur as well, because if you go that route up Andrews, and then does it take you on to Iron Gate?
it takes you Andrews to Iron Gate, down to Burner.
And then, so once you go down Bernor Road, it's like really steep.
Super steep.
And then it's a T section.
Yeah.
And then you've got to come around on the 108 where it's pretty blind.
And my plan was when or if you all say like preferred route to Smugs is okay, I was going to ask my neighbor, because I'm the last house in Underhill, to take a similar request, Dave Boyden, to take a similar request to Cambridge for the other side so that you get it from both ends. But
Can we limit? We can't limit where people drive.
I'm not sure if you can say no through traffic.
Yeah, I think that would be.
But we could do a preferred route.
well, that's why I wanted to cite my source for saying that
Right.
no through traffic.
I know what you mean.
It'd be a question you could easily ask, like V-Trans, they deal with this stuff all the time.
But what about making it slower on the road? Like, I don't know what the speed limit is up
But
there.
it can't be any less than 35. So,
I think what happens, I'm playing amateur psychologist here, but like what I wrote, I've seen like thousands of cars do this. People come off Pleasant Valley where you're kind of driving fast, and then, you come through with your dogs all the time. Westman's pretty steep, and I think it washboards because people get there and it's like fun to accelerate or something in that section.
well,
so
they just don't know how
shoot
to
up
drive on a steep road. They just mat it and.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky because do people?
Sorry, Bob wants to speak. I forgot Bob. Sorry, I'll keep an eye on the screen.
I guess I've lived here all my life. And I'm finding it shocking that there's a speed problem on Pleasant Valley and in the offshoots of Pleasant Valley. And we have these beautiful signs that we've invested in. Maybe we ought to put one of the signs out on Pleasant Valley Road on the other end, and maybe that will deter some of the speeding that takes on Pleasant Valley Road.
But it's not just speeding though, Bob. It's the people who will go on roads that they're not familiar with.
We have that all throughout. We have that all throughout all of Vermont, and I think we're making a lot of assumptions that these people that are going on to Westman Road and onto these other roads are all going to Smuggler's Notch. I mean, we don't have any data to support that I'm aware of. I think that, we can start by putting up some signs as far as, how, and try to alert people to how fast they're going on our roads and see where that goes and kind of go from there. But unfortunately, I think this is a problem that we have throughout all of Underhill, where we have people that are going way too fast for the road conditions, unfortunately.
Yeah, my only evidence for that, Bob, for what it's worth, is it's easier to tell in the winter because people have the ski racks or whatnot. It's harder to tell in the summer for sure. I think Westman's just become the preferred cut through to Smugs. And there's nothing, look, it is what it is for someone coming from Essex, right? But maybe you could dissuade people coming from Massachusetts. The person from Essex is going to cut through, right? It is what it is. But
and that's been going on for a long time.
Of course, and it is what it is.
I remember a couple decades ago, I had a truck, and I had a son who was in high school, and he would go the back roads to Smugs all the time because he would take chains in this four-wheel drive truck. He would pull people out, and he didn't ask for any money, but he got a lot of tips. So it worked well, but this is going on. And the other thing is great signage. I don't know if it works because people go up Upper Stevensville Road for winter activities, and there's all kinds of signs there. This road, you have to have four-wheel drive.
Yep.
I can't remember what the sign is.
I know the sign you're talking about.
Yeah, and a lot of people might see it. I certainly don't take a normal car up there in the winter because I know, but people from away, do they really understand?
Yeah.
The thing is, I've gotten the Smugs from every possible direction you could ever get to, various times, trying to get skiing in the afternoon or whatever. I would never go that way. It's not the most efficient way to go there.
No, the GPS just shows it as being shorter, but it's not.
It's not at all.
I agree.
It's so twisty, and and you're driving through residential neighborhoods, rural residential neighborhoods. It's just crazy to.
Yeah, it'd be a good way to indicate.
The best way to deter people is stop maintaining the road. Pothole road.
We don't maintain it in the winter.
Let the washboard get crazy. People will stop going up there. I hate to say that.
We'll have to call Cambridge to tell them to stop.
That's the way to get people to stop driving on the road.
It's true. Yeah.
It's really bumpy. I'll take the high road, take the paved road.
It's totally true.
Yeah, it's.
It's just odd to me that they show it shorter.
Well, they show the Notch Road for truckers that it's shorter.
True.
I just punched it in. It didn't take me to Westman.
Oh.
State kept me on the battle.
Oh, that's good.
They did.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
That's good.
Don't know what I did.
Well, anyway, that's my request. I'll leave it with you all.
Well, we
We'll
can.
have to brainstorm some signage.
Yeah, I think we can brainstorm that.
Potholes ahead.
Hazardous road conditions ahead.
Stay on the main road.
There's a mountain biking sign that the Bruce River Mountain Bike Club has in a place where there's a jump and it has like an alligator mouth open. And it's like, I never do that jump. So yeah.
Exactly.
Signs work.
When I was on the golf course in Middlebury, there was this kind of boggy area behind one of the greens, and I still remember the sign that said, think about it, $2 golf ball, $80 golf shoes, you don't want to go in here.
Exactly.
So, I remember the sign, and I don't know if you can put a sign like that, that kind of, don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Washboard ahead. Don't even think about it.
But I don't know what's legal about that when you're on roadways.
I mean, I'd put the dogs up there more. We'll go around
right.
there and slow everybody down.
Nice and slow, 15 miles an
No
hour.
skiers, no dogs.
It's really more of a Cambridge issue,
Only the first little bits.
Right.
Underhill.
So we've got Underhill for just a small fraction, and then maybe you get some people fired up on Cambridge.
Well, Dave Boyden's very fired up, so I'm sending him off the game.
Signage that we could put on in a minute if we need to, are there curb signs or steep signs, going into the section that you say people are going?
There's no signs. Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that's what we can assess, at least put that up there. Chevrons.
Yeah.
Something that would mark the road better for the people who are on it, because you're not going to keep everybody off of it.
No, of course not. Yeah.
And that might be a step to at least make it safer for people.
I mean, it's not, I agree. And for me, it's not, just to be clear, it's not like, oh, I don't want anyone on this road. That's not the point. Like, we moved here from Chicago. Like, whatever amount of traffic is on Westman Road is still going to be 1/1,000,000th of the traffic I dealt with before. It's more just, it feels like people just sort of, have a lot of accidents there.
And they don't know what they're getting into.
Yeah, they don't know what they're doing.
I know what you mean. It was a time in my life here that it was much more comfortable for me to ride on the Van Ryn Expressway than
There you go.
it was on these two-lane roads at night.
Well, think about the Chamber of Commerce in Jeffersonville. You think they'd want to encourage people to go through Jeffersonville for commerce?
Yeah.
Right?
That's an idea.
So, and smugglers would want them to do that to arrive safely.
Yeah.
Or we could just turn Westman. We could just turn Westman into a toll road.
Yeah, we could do that too.
Underhill
Those
would be
are the types of signs. Those are the types of signs that people tend to pay attention to. They don't really pay attention to no tractor trailers that can go through the notch or anything like that. But if you put up a toll road or no parking, over near Casey's Hill, that's kind of a hit or miss. But toll roads seem to really get people's attention.
I think that's genius, Bob, and Underhill will be rolling in cash.
We could have a town. We could buy a town tow truck. I mean, there's all kinds of possibilities.
Well, thank you all for thinking about it.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time.
And it's good discussion, probably for more roads than that.
Ryan, we could take a look and see what we can do for signs. And I'm honestly, there's gotta be something we can do. It's just a matter of trying to figure it out.
Thank you so much, Bob. I appreciate it. And thank you both.
Thank you.
And I look forward to seeing you in Westman. Bye, everyone.
Nice to meet you, Brian.
All right, so next item on the agenda is Town Highway 25. Amanda's popped in here as our 911 coordinator. Amanda, you there?
Brian.
Yeah. You want to explain,
me?
Amanda, or you want to give the rundown?
Yeah, so it was brought to my attention that we have another town highway that needs to be named according to the new E911 regulations. As I said in my note to you, that there's two residences on that road, I guess we call it now, and they're all have different opinions on what it should be named. So we're needing some assistance on choosing, I guess, because they couldn't come to an agreement. I don't think there's any hard feelings in any way between any of the residents, but I think they're looking for someone to choose for them. So I gave you the options and want to know what you guys think.
I move that we call it Town Highway number 25. That's what it is.
Amanda, does that meet the E911 criteria?
I think if we spell it out, it will. It has to be spelled out, Town Highway 25. I will double check with.
No TH.
No
it'd be
TH.
Town Highway.
No,
Town Highway
I
25.
believe it will have to be spelled out as Town Highway 25, but I can double check.
So not TH 25.
Right.
Spelled
Correct.
out. So
So let me make it
somehow, I
formal.
think if that's what it is.
Bob made a motion.
I'd like to
Yeah,
make a motion that we call it Town Highway number 25, and 25 would be the numeric 2, then 5. That's a motion.
okay, I'll second that. Further discussion?
Seems a little
Can I
bland.
Brad, did you, there was a letter from a resident on that road. Did you mention that to them?
No, I haven't, but I did get, I mean, this came in last minute, it's not really, but it pertains to the agenda. It's from John Thomas. He said, I see this is on the select board agenda. He said he just wants to weigh in that he's had emergency services at his house. He lives on the very end of Tupper. So if you're going up Tupper, down Highway 25 is on your right. Tupper Road keeps going. John lives almost all the way to the end. And he said there's a lot of confusion about people showing up in his yard, emergency services, not being able to find town. There's no sign there currently. Is that correct?
There's a sign, we put up a sign last summer that just says TH25.
Right. So that's, yeah.
And there wasn't one there before, but it's just a small sign that says TH25.
Then John just goes on to say, by the way, not that I care a whole lot, but if it gets to that point, some possible names for the road could be like Miller or Spears Road, some of the older landowners that are in character. This is the English settlement, okay? The words English settlement have been on maps since the 19th century.
Mhm.
So to mix in a different theme might not be a good idea. It might be, I think a lot of people might take offense to that. But I'm referring to one of the choices.
The Scottish.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
Scottish
trying to be
settlement
discriminatory at all, but we have Irish settlement, we have English settlement.
But in reality, historically, it wasn't a Scottish settlement.
No,
And so that,
not germane.
but the others have that.
I've never seen Strawberry Hill. I can tell you Strawberry Hill would be a gigantic sign, right?
Any of these options would be a gigantic sign.
Okay.
Town Highway 25 would be
Because all
gigantic.
new signs today are 12 inches tall with 9-inch letters.
So town,
Those are really, they get
Town
really,
highway.
really long,
Yeah.
spelling out names. So I can weigh in at all. A shorter name would be wonderful, because once you get any length, anything over 3 feet in length has to have dual post. And the trouble we put in just one post up there last summer was horrific. It's so bony material. And I mean, it can be done. Whatever you choose to do can be done.
Mhm.
And then when you ever go up Tupper Road to this, it's very wooded, right? So it's very kind of out back there. Then you stick this great big sign. It just kind of, to me, it would take away.
I like to see, I do like to see names that are germane to the history of the area and maybe history of the homes and the people who own
Right,
land
exactly.
there, right? Like
Exactly.
Downs Road was an example.
Gert's Knob.
Gert's Knob, well, yeah, Gert's Knob, right, Gert's Knob. Anyway, I'd be more than happy. I don't think this is anything that needs to happen tonight, right, Amanda?
It does not. It's mainly, it's a new 911 regulation. It's to try and keep the residents as safe as possible, have people stop going up to John Thomas's house when they, for deliveries and stuff. It's a 911 regulation, so it has to happen. There is no time frame.
Okay. If we could
We can ask
find
them.
somewhere,
I'd love to do a little research.
it'd be awesome.
Check it out. Metcalf was an old name, I know there, but we already have a Metcalf
Yeah.
view, so that's not.
Okay.
Was there a farm out there at one time, right?
Yeah, there
What
were
was
multiple farms. Metcalf.
There was not.
Well, as a result of this discussion, I will vote no on the motion because I would like further input as we discussed.
Sounds good.
If there's some sort of, you can
Yeah.
find some historic significance, that'd be great.
Okay,
More than happy to do
The
that.
historic significance is that it's always been called Town Highway number 25. But if we want to invest time into looking into what this is going to be, that's fine. I have no problem with that.
so, we're ready to call a question. We have a motion on the table to call it Town Highway 25. Have a roll call vote. Dan Steinbauer, no.
Patty Richards, no.
Bob Stone, yes.
So we have, the motion is defeated by 2-1.
And it might come back to that, might be the, I don't know, might
We
not
can
be able to
revisit
find
it.
any kind
Exactly.
of historical significance, and we might come right back to that. But that would be a double sign, a double posted sign.
Well, unless we did highway, Amanda, would highway have to be spelled out, or could it be like road, which is RD?
Or
Just
HWY.
HWY.
No, they want the highway. They want town highway.
Maybe walk
Or
highway.
the other, that suggestion was town highway 25. So that was that suggestion. I'd be happy to help Brad look up stuff and see if we can find a different alternative. I don't know if size always matters, but if it's keeping someone safe.
Okay, we'll
sounds
revisit
good.
this.
Yeah, we don't have to let it sit long.
No,
Exactly.
you're right at it.
Pay attention to it and do it soon as. Thank you, Amanda, for your input.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
See you,
Thanks, you
Amanda.
too.
So Anton's here for the next agenda item, which is the temporary parking, Tomasi, Meadow. Same routine as before.
Yeah, greetings, folks. Anton Kelsey, Pleasant Valley Road in Underhill. So we again have the desire to have some extra parking in Tomasi Meadow with the Casey's Hill kind of sledding parking on one side and a skier parking on the south side. So pretty similar type of layout that we've done the last 2 seasons, I think, to pretty good success. But we know that that's not a permanent curb cut there. So we need to do a temporary approval by the board again to get that to happen. So just coming forward to get that discussed and any questions answered and hopefully approved so we can have that southern end parking lot again.
It would be permission to apply for a temporary access permit.
I move that we grant permission to apply for temporary access permit for the parking as proposed in the memo.
I'll second that. Anton, thank you for paying attention, and bringing this. If you did or if Brad did, I don't know. But do people really, except for the location, do the skiers usually use that and the sledders usually use the other one? I mean, it makes sense, but.
Yeah, people have been pretty good about, skiers use that. And I would say certainly some skiers park at the sledding end as well. But we've done a good job of trying to sign it and remind people that to keep the skier parking on that south side. So I think it's worked pretty well. There was even one time when the parking lot at Casey's was full and some sledders parked on the south end and walked all the way to the other end, trudged through the snow. Yep.
Cool.
No, so I think it's working well, Dan.
Well, very good, very good. So we have a motion. What? Is there somebody else?
Two things. One, is there any additional information about the state and providing additional parking in the wintertime so that they're not using it as a commuter parking lot and then going up Mountain Road and then parking as far as the gate? And then number two, do we have a towing company on retainer for who we're going to contact when we have cars that are illegally parked? And if not, when are we going to do that? Thank you.
I don't remember. We had somebody last year, didn't we, that we had on a number to call?
Yeah, Be There Towing, and I have that contact information, and I could contact. That's who we've used before.
We only used them once last year for car parked in the middle of the road.
I've called them before.
That's the only time
I guess I'd
know of another.
really like to have that nailed down prior to we getting into the whole winter season, that we know who we're going to be contacting in the event that something happens.
In fact, I don't think anyone's using the temporary frozen parking lot and going anywhere else but Tomasi Meadow. I don't think anybody's parking there and going to Mountain Road, but
No, I think the Casey's Hill gets used by a few folks. It's not a ton, but it's enough so that if it's a busy day there, it has an impact.
But
I mean, if it was
never been
something-
as busy as it was during the
go.
pandemic.
No, we never had a time last winter that even approached what happened during the pandemic. And I think that was when the Free Press put us at the number 2 sledding spot in Vermont too, which increased the usage.
Right.
That was all 2021.
Where are we at with the expansion on the?
Just gonna bring
I'm
that
going to
up.
wait for the ditch material from Pleasant Valley. That's what I was told last time. So had culverts ready to go. I had a plan in place, had an ARPA application. The ARPA committee just tried to make it a little more difficult. They wanted a study. They wanted an engineering study. I had it done. I had the wetland cleared. I had everything cleared. We had the culvert. We just needed to fill. I was going to propose just trucking in clean sand fill that we could buy somewhere, but it never happened. So then the idea was we're going to ditch the valley road. Maybe after we bed the culvert out, we could use some of that material.
We've talked a little bit just in the garage of, we do get a fair amount of ditch material throughout the town that we do somebody to bring in the pit, or there's people around town that do want some fill that, we could utilize our own fill for our own use. That'd be better. So we started stockpiling fill for this project up at the Beartown
Very
pit.
good.
If we get some good, clean stuff, not all stumpy stuff.
So rather than just give it away all the time.
Right. If we're on the far end of Poker Hill, it's a little different to truck it all the way over here. If we get a place over there, that's one thing. But if we're in this upper area, we've got a pretty good sized pile.
So the select board, we took action on that, expanding Casey Hill parking lot. So any plans that we can put in place to do that?
Yeah.
Are we
Couldn't do it
being
this
held
way.
up by the ARPA committee?
No. I pulled the ARPA request.
That seems like I need to go.
I had all the legwork done. It's all set. I even went through the Vermont
Yeah,
land trust, or I went through the land trust. The original parking was already approved to be much larger than it is now. So it's all set to go.
So we gotta get more.
So we just need fill?
We had to use the culvert we had purchased for an emergency culvert.
So we don't have a culvert?
We have
Right.
culverts we have culverts, got a lot of culverts right now that have a place for them.
Yeah, this was an emergency situation. One of the culverts, or two of them, had to be used, apparently.
But there was three or four.
I think we wanted to make it at least 80 feet, yeah.
So we had 4 culverts.
Okay, I just want to bring it up that the select board has already taken action on this. We've approved it. So anything we can do to make that happen, it's a priority because that's a really popular.
Well, you didn't approve the purchase of fill, but the agreement was to use our own fill material. But
The other thing about it is if we could get the culverts in and covered, we can, as we get material, we
Right.
can dump the
Just keep
material
dumping it in.
and then go down the loader, just
That
keep
was
pushing it off.
my,
and
that
just
was
keep-
my suggestion
keep
in
doing
the
it.
very beginning.
You know, and because lots of times we get some stuff that we don't want to put in there.
So if we can put that on your to-do list, it doesn't have to happen tomorrow.
Oh, no, we're off tomorrow.
And actually,
Good point.
I'm glad we brought this, but it's a little out of order because we have a motion on the table just to approve the parking. So I want to call that.
Okay.
All in favor of approving this temporary parking?
Well, it'd be approving the submittal of an application,
Which was the motion.
which, if you authorize Anton to sign it, that would be great.
Okay.
I can't sign it and approve it at the same time, so.
Okay. It's a friendly amendment to the motion that Anton signed the application.
All right. Is there any discussion on the amendment? All in favor of the amendment? Is that consensus?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. So back to the motion that we approve the signing of the temporary parking. All in favor?
Aye.
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 That motion carries 3-0. And we're good for winter.
In the meantime, add to your list, your to-do list.
We
So
should just
going
get
back
a
to that,
cut there.
can we get a price on what it's gonna cost to get those culverts in, for our next meeting?
Sure can.
Sweet.
If we don't have them, then we need to figure that out. And then the fill, I feel, is like a separate issue, but if we're gonna have, if we absolutely need to have culverts, then we ought to find out like, how much they're gonna be and, either go with it or hit the pause button.
I don't think it's anything you want to try to attempt this winter. So,
Spring.
but yeah, I think there's, we approved 4 culverts once. I'll dig up that information, give it to you, Russ.
Okay.
I know we had to use 2 of them for an emergency situation on Silly Hill, but I'll work with Russ to get that figured out.
Thank you.
Is that all you got, Anton? Or?
That's all I got.
Thank you, Anton.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks, folks. Appreciate the support.
Thanks. So we've got the 2024 well monitoring estimate. Pretty much right in line with last year. A little bit more money, not too much, but a few $100s more.
How long have they done this work for us?
Since we've been, very long time,
Since 19.
So many, many years.
many
20 years?
years. Yeah.
30 years.
So they have good rapport, good history with the site, they have the data, good reputation with the state. They helped us out with the excavator rollover on Lower English settlement. Rob Ross is really good. He's based out of Stowe. He's really easy to get a hold of. A lot of these environmental firms come from very far away.
I move that we approve the submitted cost estimate for water quality monitoring for 2024 for the Underhill Landfill and Town Highway Garage drinking water as proposed.
I'll second that. Is there discussion?
We haven't got the fall results yet, but the fall results will include the drinking water test for the town garage.
Smells so bad, nobody wants to drink it anyways.
Tastes bad?
I don't know, nobody will drink it because it stinks so bad.
Sulfur.
Sulfur.
No. Well,
Yeah, it doesn't smell like garbage here.
It's like-
Well, kind of. Rotten eggs.
just pretend you're in Yellowstone. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none.
Bob, were you?
I saw his mouth move.
I did. I forgot to turn my microphone on. I said aye.
Okay, thanks.
I
Just
saw
wanted
his
for the
mouth
record.
say aye.
And if you want to just put that in your papers to sign, I can pass it along.
This motion carries 3-0.
Next is an item, Bob wanted on the agenda is the Underhill Center Post Office.
So it was brought to my attention that I have not been there, but it looks like we have some exposed foam in the basement of the post office, as well as some sagging to the floor. And I believe it would be a fairly easy fix to put in some a brace or a floor rafter and, some jacks to level the floor there to try to preserve the building. But I guess what I'm looking for is if we could engage and try to get a scope of work for taking care of the basement of the post office and Underhill Center, and then have that report brought back to the select board, hopefully in the next 30 days, so that we can look at that and then have a more of a discussion of whether or not we want to put that into the budget, or if we want to try to utilize funds for repair of the buildings that the town owns. So that's what I was hoping to do tonight, is that we could authorize having a contractor develop a scope of work and look at the basement at the post office and Underhill Center.
And just for the record, we own the building and the post office rents it from us.
Leases it from us.
Leases it, just for the record.
Right.
I think it's a good idea to get a quote, see how much it would cost.
Was that a motion, Bob?
It is now.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
I just add that I went to check it out. I think the floor could be remedied pretty easily. It's just the middle's sagging. There's lolly columns down there that are adjustable. The postmaster kind of slides his chair, goes to the middle all the time. And yeah, Bob's right. I don't know much about Bob being the fire marshal, but I think the exposed foam is not lawful, so that should be covered up. But it's really clean down there, dry, clean, no cobwebs. I was impressed.
Nice.
Nice.
It's a dehumidifier that runs down there, but I was really impressed how the environment was good.
Good.
So.
Good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The ayes carry this motion 3-0.
I'll reach out to a local contractor and see if I can get them to give us a rough estimate of what, and a scope of work, what we could do. Simply 3. So we're on this sale discussion of the town 1997 Caterpillar excavator.
So as you probably all remember, we did, part of our motion with purchasing the new one was to have the ability to sell ours outright. And so just trying to plan ahead a little bit on that, so we're not waiting for the last minute and, keep things moving and not sitting around. I feel it's in our best interest to do a bid process to get it out into the buyer's world to give option to purchase it. Talking with Brad a little bit, I think our best option would be to have a minimum bid of our highest, at least our highest trade-in amount. Maybe a little bit more if it, highest trade-in was 30. Oh no, I shouldn't say that, because our highest trade-in was 35, but that was not with the vendor we chose.
But it was somebody was willing to give us that for
Yes. Yeah. So I did a little research online called Machinery Trader. There was a few of them listed on there for sale, and they range from $32,500 to $44,900.
Did they have as many hours as ours does? They did. Okay.
Maybe the
So,
minimum should be,
set a reserve.
yeah, like 30. We don't have to take it.
Well, I don't think we have to, but I think if you advertise something with a minimum bid of 30, if somebody
Yes, 30.
bids 30, then that's really, if we offering
Yeah.
a minimum bid, then we should take it. So I believe we should go higher on the 35 mark and put it out there. And if we don't sell it,
35 sounds good.
we don't,
We don't. Yeah.
just have it, we could get this lined up and then it would be available when our new machine is in. So we would be without an excavator. Because we do end up having to use it in emergency situations in the winter months, so.
We put it on Vermont local roads where the towns could get a chance to look at it. We do Craigslist.
Advertising Craigslist, Marketplace.
Mhm.
And I'd be willing to take that on to do that.
If we could put a link to our website, we have the pictures and description.
Need a motion to do this, or?
Well, yeah, I think you do with the purchasing policy, but, or the deposition policy. But the thing to do would be maybe to just agree the logistics of it here. So do that and then have set a certain date that the sealed bid has to be by, and then you would open the bids at a open meeting.
Yeah.
Just like a bid process for paving and whatnot.
I move that we pursue a competitive bid process for the excavator, including a minimum bid price. You don't need to say the number, you can figure it out.
It's okay to say it's going to say it in the
But in case you change your
Yeah.
mind, gives you some flexibility.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
I'll second that. All in favor?
for discussion, Bob.
No, I'm ready for the question.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
The ayes carry this motion 3-0.
All right.
Let me say one thing. I know I wasn't here at the beginning of the meeting. You must have went into executive session right at the
You
beginning.
did.
So if there's anything to add to the agenda, is it too late to add something fairly quickly?
There's an executive session at the end.
Yeah, no, this is just I just want to ask you guys a question in the meeting here about
About
something.
spending or?
No, about something at the garage. I just want to discuss. If it can't be tonight, we can do
We
it.
have,
We put it at the end if you want.
yeah, we have other member concerns or member items. We can call it a member item,
Okay, fair enough.
right after the warrants and minutes.
Okay.
And then did you add something?
Holiday bonus for
Oh.
staff, Bob?
Yep. I'd like to move that we follow what we did last year for the staff. I believe it was $50, but it may have been more, that we authorized to spend for our town hall and road crew staff for the holiday season as a gesture of thanks.
No, what did we do last
There
year?
was a gift certificate, I think, to the Village Tavern and Jeff.
I think it was 50, but I'm not 100% sure, but I'd just like to follow what we did last year.
I think it was too.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a good idea. I agree.
Everybody liked it.
Yeah, I agree. Let's repeat.
So second.
That's a second.
Good. All in favor? Aye.
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 The ayes carry this motion 3-0.
All right, so 7:49, and I've got a couple of appropriations that I added to your packet. Easy one is the Association for the Blind. They're just asking for their $100 that we normally give them, Association of the Blind. I will say that these folks helped my mother out extensively when her vision was going. They came right to the house.
Nice.
They evaluated her reading skill, which was excellent. She, they just want to see, well, how much of a reader are you? And once she demonstrated her reading ability, that they were willing to help her. So they gave her lights and all kinds of good things, one of which I have here, I brought in, but good cause. So the second is the Jericho's Farmers Market. Underhill request is $1,000, and they're looking to up that to $2,000, and then based on our appropriation policy, this meets the deadline of the 100 and some odd days before town meeting. So it would, according to the policy, it would go on the warning. And I don't think there's any other.
So we don't have to take action on it.
I don't think you got to take action, but just affirm that it'll be added to the warning. But the warning will be a different thing later on. But I guess I'm just more or less keeping track. It's good to do them as they come in, and we don't lose them.
Right.
So,
Is the person who submitted the request, are they aware that it'll become an article?
Absolutely, they are. And we do have one. It wasn't included in your packet, but it will be the same. It met the deadline, but it will be included in your packet next time. So anything new now will have to go petition. Whoever's the appropriation will have to petition to get onto the warning.
All the ones that
Come from now forward.
have been approved before, do they have to?
Well, as long as they're not increased by $300.
Okay.
If they're increased by $300, then they have to petition to get on the warning.
And if they,
Unless you wanted to change the appropriation policy at a
right.
future meeting.
I think it's a good policy.
Okay, so the next one will be Mount Mansfield Community Television. It's just a hair over the 300, but it's still nonetheless. But it met the deadline, wasn't included in your packet because the day I put the packet together was the deadline. So anyway, that'll be next week. That's all I have. $7:52, closing public comment. Don't see any.
Not seeing anyone, we will move on to warrants and minutes. And I move that we approve the payroll warrants for 11/9/2023.
Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 The ayes carry that 3-0. I move that we approve the AP warrants for 10/30 to 11/9. Is there a second?
Second that.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the auto pay, direct pays warrants, AP 10/1 to 11/7. I move that we approve.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
That wasn't in the packet.
I think that's for next time. Yeah, you don't have to approve that now. Unless you want to. It's the auto pay. It wasn't in the packet. I'd leave it till next time.
Okay.
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 I think that was the idea. We're going to put it in for the 16th.
So the motion, I move that the motion be tabled
Yes.
to the next time. So I move that we approve the select board meeting minutes for Thursday, October 26, 2023. Dan and Patty were present as select board members. Is there a second?
Second that.
Discussion. Dan Steinbauer, aye.
Patty Richards, aye.
Bob Stone abstain.
So the
Was not
motion
there.
carries 2-0 to 1 abstention. And I move that we approve the meeting minutes for Thursday, October 12th, 2023. And where the select board members present were Dan and Bob. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? Dan Steinbauer, aye.
Bob Stone, aye.
And Patty Richards abstained.
And I move that we approve the special select board meeting minutes for October 30th, 2023. Is there a second?
Second.
Yes.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. The motion carries 3-0. So what do we have here now? We've got,
So we talked about, when Bob wasn't here, we talked about moving the meeting that would fall on Thanksgiving Day to the 30th. Bob has conflict, so we've rescheduled offline to have our next meeting be next Thursday, the 16th. And at that meeting, we should be ready to take a good first crack at the budget. So it'll be mostly budget oriented. So that's the next regularly scheduled meeting. Well,
special meeting.
special meeting
Scheduled.
in place of Thanksgiving Day.
Which is a good decision.
Yes.
And member items, you have something, Paul?
I do. I need to spend a lot of time on it for sure, but I just wanted to start the conversation with, several years ago, the town paid to have a foundation fuel containment foundation built at the town garage to house our fuel tanks. And that has been nothing more than a pond for the last several years because the building hasn't gotten built. And part of our warrant, our insurance regulations are that our fuel tanks have to be in containment. And the thought was that maybe we could get that built this winter.
Didn't we
The
talk about
containment?
this?
Just the containment.
The building part of it. The containment is concrete that's already in the ground. It's been there for 5-6 years at least, I guess, from what I understand.
We did talk about this because it was part of the insurance audit we had.
Yeah.
So they pointed that out. And then you kind of discussed that and agreed that we could remedy all those violations, but anyway, go ahead.
So I did so originally the building was designed to, half of it was gonna be to hold the fuel tanks. The other half of it was gonna be for coal patch storage for fixing blacktop and so on. But we feel that we don't utilize that much coal patch to have a building like that to do that. And that space could be more beneficial for storage. So instead of building it to house coal patch, we would build it to have storage, maybe our signage or things like that can be in there. So anyway, so I did some calculations on lumber and metal roofing and so on. And I had come up with a number of $5,000 for materials to build on top of this foundation that we already have and have had. That's getting lumber from rough cut lumber, and then roofing from Richmond Home Supply. I can get other prices, but I just wanted to get a ballpark number for the material. The building is 13 feet wide and 24 feet long. That would get our fuel tanks into that containment area and be legal, because right now they're not. And again, that was part of our insurance audit, and it's something that just should be done. The process has been started, just never completed. So my thought was that we could do the building ourselves, not having to hire a contractor. And that would give us a project to do during the winter months when it's a nice day and we can't go ditch or anything like that. But we can build it ourselves.
No, that would be good to have that kind of project.
I did discuss it with Brad a little bit, and does this need to go out into the budget for next year, or how does that work? And there is a line item for building maintenance that has like 10,000 in it. That maybe it could come out of that building maintenance fund, depending if we needed to, something failed, obviously at the garage. Probably.
We do have the passive grant that got reimbursed for a lot of things that we purchased to bring our insurance inspection up to snuff.
Okay.
So we've got some money in the coffers for that. That was close to 4,000, I think. But long overdue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important to get it done.
So.
How far away is that building to the main building?
Approximately
50 feet, maybe.
50 feet.
And we will have to get approval from zoning to do that. I know we have to get a state construction permit. So I'd be perfectly okay with authorizing Russ and Brad to work together towards getting the proper permitting in moving forward with this project.
Must have got a permit way back in the day when the concrete was poured. The whole concrete was poured. I'll do a little research on that. We'll see what we've got anything current. So you're saying it also needs a state permit, Bob?
Yep.
For the fuel containment.
Yep.
Okay. We can work on that.
Sure.
I think it'd be a good little.
It won't be. It's not a big permit. It's under $200,000. It will be it's a one-page application. It's not a heavy lift at all.
I'll second your motion, Bob.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 That motion carries 3-0.
So I did write up a letter, Bob, just for correspondence here. I wrote up a letter to Wayne Howe, and Dan and Patty have signed it. We're just signing it with first names. But I'll leave it in the box here if you want to come in sometime and sign it.
Yeah, I'll be in tomorrow morning.
Okay, I won't be, but
You guys, it's closed. Right. Tomorrow's
Right.
Veterans Day for you guys too, right? You're closed.
Yeah, we're closed. So seems how we didn't get Columbus Day off. At least we get this one. So, but I'll leave it here if you want to just help yourself to it, and I'll get it in the mail. But
Do you have it? I can send it.
yeah, I had it there for Dan. I don't know what he did with it. Oh no, I was going to reprint it. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Right, I'll reprint it. Yes.
Okay.
I go upstairs. But anyway, it's 8:04 and you're going to do another executive session.
I move that we enter executive session under 1 BSA Section 313, paragraph A3, for the appointment, employment, or evaluation of a public officer or employee. Is there a second?
Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So Donna, we'll just, we're going to keep the meeting going, but I'll send you what the result was of this.
Okay, sounds good. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
This conference will now be recorded.
I move that we exit executive session and return to open sessions. It is 9:01 p.m. And two actions we took on hiring or offering making an offer to hire a road crew member. And I move that we authorize. You want to make a motion, Bob?
Yeah, we're going to move that. We're going to authorize the chair to make an offer to a prospective employee based upon the discussions that we had in executive session.
Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes 3-0. And we also discussed another item.
Yeah, the other item that we discussed in executive session is that the select board is going to continue to work on the issues that were brought to our attention by our road crew. And we are hoping to have additional information provided to us by our next scheduled select board meeting next week so that we can continue those discussions.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. It's 9:03 p.m.